Welcome back to the National Hurricane Center. This is Ken Graham in our operations area. This is your 11:30 a.m. update. Right here in operations, we've been discussing the latest information on Tropical Storm Henri, just moving over Block Island, getting close to the Rhode Island coastline here. Going to make landfall here soon, maybe the next hour or two. So we're watching real close for that landfall point. And so some of the readings we're getting right now, the latest winds 60 miles per hour. The movement, we've been advertising the slowdown. We started this morning about 18 miles an hour, then we had an advisory with 16, and now we've got north-northwest at 12. So that slowdown is occurring as forecast. So there you have the center point, getting real close, and look at some of those rain bands coming off that center. But the other thing I really definitely want to show is zooming out a little bit, and it sure isn't just about that center. You have those winds. In fact, Point Judith, 70 mile an hour wind gust, and that's really close to this location right in here in Rhode Island. So you're getting some of those winds, but look at these rain bands. I went through Boston early and Portsmouth, and just some significant amount of rainfall and wind associated well away from the center. And we're getting some reports, some gauges, possibly getting 9 inches already in as far away as New Jersey. And I was watching this, and I think it's worth pointing out, look how far away. And so if you're watching in places like Delaware, keeping an eye on the storm, look at these strong storms from this tropical system moving across Delaware, just intense rainfall. It comes down quickly, and it could lead to some localized flooding as well. So that's the latest information, at least looking at the radar and the winds. It covers it right there. So moving over Block Island, getting very close to landfall. And we do have an updated forecast. This came out about, 30 minutes ago. And just updating it, you can see how close it is to the coastline there. So the slowdown coming, about the only change here is maybe slightly a little bit to the left. That's why we have the cone. I mean, 2/3 of the time we expect that center to be anywhere inside that cone. That's why we say it's so important not to just focus on that center line. You got to focus on the extent of the winds. You got to focus on where it could be, and that's why preparedness is so important. So with time, going through the timeline here, making landfall in the next couple hours near Rhode Island, Connecticut, and then moving across Connecticut, probably still with tropical storm force winds, and could be some strong gusts in there as well. So all the rain that we showed on the radar, plus you're going to have those winds, just could see some flooded roadways, could see some floods, and also some trees down associated with this because it's soil, it's just so saturated, and that could lead to some power outages as well. So be prepared for all that in time. So let's follow it along. That's going to happen for the rest of the day into tonight, and then by Monday morning we're up here near the Vermont, New Hampshire area as a tropical depression. But at the same time, whether we're a hurricane before, whether we're a tropical storm or a depression, the key here is about the impacts, and it's going to be some heavy rainfall. You're still going to have those gusty winds with time, and then moving close to the coast of Maine with time, 11 a.m. It looks like we're going to be on 8 a.m. on Tuesday off the coast of Maine. So that kind of gives you the timeline of the whole situation here. The rainfall, we're looking at the totals. By the time it's all said and done, 4 to 6 inches over a widespread area over Long Island, Connecticut. Look at these rainfall totals. Remember, that's where our track is. So you think about the landfall and just kind of follow our track across the state. Most of that rain has been on that left-hand side of this tropical system, and so you can see those totals reflecting in that as well. But look as far away as northern portions of New Jersey, just some significant amount of rainfall in all these areas, stretching all the way into Vermont and New Hampshire. The Weather Prediction Center, they look at the soil conditions, they look at the rainfall, and they highlight areas that you could see flooding, the flash flood risk. And they have a moderate risk for this entire orange area here, reddish area, Hartford, Poughkeepsie, New York, Islip, up to Albany, all these places. I mean, you're just at a risk of some of that flash flooding associated with that heavy rainfall and saturated soil. But just because you're not in that area, even the yellow area for a large portion of Massachusetts, back towards New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, even Philadelphia, seeing a slight risk of some of that flash flooding. So pay attention to that rainfall, listen for those warnings. Never drive your car where water covers the road. Always turn around, don't drown. So with trees down and flooding, just makes for a dangerous situation. Brand new update when it comes to the storm surge. We just got this here recently. 2 to 4 feet still possible in some of these areas from Nantucket, Buzzards Bay, back to Narragansett Bay. You can see 2 to 4 feet of some of this storm surge. Even Long Island Sound, 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. So that's what we have in the situation. We have seen some of the water levels coming up. Cape Cod, 1 to 2 feet, and even up to the Merrimack River, you can see 1 to 2 feet of storm surge. I do want to show you one of those locations here, Montauk Point, New York. The green here is the anomaly, basically the difference between where we should be and where we are, and that tells us what the storm surge is. It looks like we're about 2.5 feet of storm surge right there, so really kind of fits in that 2 to 4 foot values. So we're going to have to watch that with time, and it's not just that location. There's multiple locations that could be really looking at this. And the last slide I wanted to show, I think this is important. Hopefully nobody's in the waters. Ocean Prediction Center, we take time to really, both at TAF B here at the Hurricane Center and the Ocean Prediction Center, really takes time to keep the mariners safe as well. And this is one of the graphics looking at some of the waves and looking at this. Wow, you see a bullseye right there, about 27 to 30 feet on the waves. So just offshore, really stirring up that water, very dangerous conditions offshore. And we really see some of those waves, and some of those can crash into some of the islands and some of the outer locations with land. So dangerous situation for mariners, dangerous situation for those on land. That's something just we're going to have to keep on watching as we update it. Water is almost 90% of fatalities is the water, so that's something we have to definitely protect ourselves from. And I have to mention it, I don't want to forget this, is when we start losing power in some areas, we're going to see a lot of generator use. I urge you, please follow the instructions on those generators. Use them. We lose a lot of people after these storms from carbon monoxide poisoning. Don't have those generators in the house. Don't have them in the garage. Don't have them near an open window. Get them plenty far away from the house, and please follow those cautions and stay safe when you start using these generators. So that's the latest update from here at the National Hurricane Center on Tropical Storm Henri.